Unbroken. What a story, and a true one at that. Directed by Angelina Jolie, um, with O'Connell as Louis Zamperini, and Donald Gleason as Phil. Impressive movie. On a subjective note, incidentally, this is not relevant, so you can skip on this note and go to the IMDb site, look for the Metascore for the place which gives you extracts from the most important critics, and you'll be better served by that. This is just on the edge, on the periphery of the net, and it's for our fan base of three. So a small club here, and this is as a warning. This is probably not for you. That's the conclusion right here. Having said that, Angelina Jolie, I've watched some material on her recently, in which they were talking about her early days when she was considered crazy. Maybe she still is by some. I mean, I think she's bizarre, but then look at this movie. This strangeness can produce great things. Her father said she's mad, but then he's a lunatic supporter of Trump. When you say lunatic, oxymoron. When you say a supporter of Trump, being mental is implied. Again, for this viewer, you can be in the other camp, and then I am crazy. Different universes. So, a participant, Zamperini, a participant in the Olympics, he spends, how many days was that? 47 days on a raft in the middle of the ocean. Colleagues die. He and Phil are saved by the Japanese. But what follows is hell. And in other words, this is a story about resilience, bravery, determination, human values, but also in humanity we have the mad, again mad. It's a mad world, right? The leader of the Japanese internment camp, who is a psychopath. Well, on the other hand, it's also true. The Japanese were not very gentle during Second World War. One thing that comes to mind is the fact that they're not gentle with themselves. So they have the kamikaze, those who died, inflicted the ultimate penalty on themselves in the war, died in suicide missions with their planes trying to do as much damage to the enemy troops and ships. And so that's one thing. And then the infamous harakiri, when they take a sword, if the honor is, and they commit suicide, ritual with a long tradition. So that's one thing. Another episode that comes to mind is included in the lectures that are freely available online, Jordan B. Peterson, The Conservative. So that wouldn't be my cup of tea exactly, but what he says is impressive. And he has this torture from the Second World War. He says he doesn't know of anything more horrible. So they took prisoners of war through this experiment. They had their hands in water and frozen, and then inside to be unfrozen. The ice melted, and then again until it will disintegrate or something like that. So it's unbelievable and horrible. This is not exactly what happens to Zamperini, but it's not far either, because he's kicked and kicked again. At one point, there so many instances where you think these people will die. From the beginning, when they're caught by the Japanese, taken to a place, they said kneel. They have their samurai or whatever, well sharpened knives, and they're thinking maybe they will be beheaded. Which the audience can think, well, you have a long way to go in the movie, but then there are all kinds of surprises today, so it could be that they're beheaded, and then we have the story somehow said by somebody else. I'm just saying that's a possibility in a narrative. So that doesn't happen. But then he's beaten with ferocity by this commander of the camp, and at another stage, he has the others kick him. And Zamperini has to tell them, kick me. And kick me not because, not, like a gentle slap. With a fist, if the other prisoner doesn't, Zamperini will continue to be tortured. But so will be the other one. So he says, and they line up and they all kick him, because until you think he's finished. But he's not. It's, as I said, both a story of human monstrosity, abjection, as in the Japanese commander, who, by the way, wouldn't see Zamperini after the war is finished, so many years later, because he goes to Japan and he has the ultimate humanity in saying, okay, I forgive, I make peace with the former guardians, but this guy wouldn't see him. So you have objection, monstrosity on one hand, and you have something close to a superhuman in Zamperini. Impressive. I don't know why critics have given it such low scores, but then they know better, I'm sure.